Hey, this is Matt from MasterSketchup.com, and in this video I'm going to show you how to use the rotated rectangle tool. It's available as of SketchUp 2015. It's a new tool, and you can find it in the Getting Started toolbar. If you go to View and Toolbars, you can activate the Getting Started toolbar there. And you'll find it in the drop-down menu. It looks just like this. And for now, what I want to do is let's just use the rotated rectangle tool as a 3-point rectangle. So just click 3 points to define the rectangle. Just ignore the protractor helper that you see on the screen for now. And just practice clicking 3 points to define the rectangle. And you can create a shape like this. Next, let's take a look at some of the power behind the rotated rectangle tool. So I'll click the 2 points to define my first edge. And as I drag my mouse out, see how the rectangle is rotating around the first edge. So you can actually snap to the different angles around the protractor. If you look at the value control box down at the bottom right hand of your screen, you'll see the current active angle and length of the rectangle that you're drawing. Let's say I want to come out to 45 degrees and I'll draw my rectangle, and I'll draw another one. And one of the cool things is you have the full SketchUp inference system available to you. So for instance, I could come around to any one of these tick marks and hold down the Shift key, and you can see the lines are now a little bit bolder, and that locks in that angle reference, and that lets me go around and reference any other point in the model. Another thing that's really powerful about this tool is your ability to control the size. Now, like a lot of tools in SketchUp, when you draw something, you have the ability to define an absolute size for the object. So if you look down here, I just finished drawing the rectangle, and you can see I'm at this arbitrary size. So if I just type in my own dimension, I'll go 5 inch, comma, 3 inch, and when I tap enter, you can see the rectangle resized. So that's a little bit too small, so I'm gonna go ahead and increase the size. I'll do 3 feet, comma, 4 feet, enter. So you can go ahead and feed it new dimensions as many times as you want. It doesn't matter what unit of measurement you feed it either. Now with this tool, you actually have the ability to control angles as well. So I just clicked 2 points, and when you look down at the VCB, you can see it's telling us an angle and a length. So you can actually type that in yourself if you know the angle or length that you want to have for the rectangle. So in this case, let's say I want to go 63 degrees at 4 feet. I can type that in and press enter, and it'll resize to that orientation and length. Now, so far we've been just clicking 2 points to define our first edge, but of course you have the option to define the angle of the first edge as well. So instead of clicking, if you click and drag, you'll notice that the protractor will rotate perpendicular to the mouse position. So you can actually orient a plane that the first edge will be aligned to. And what that does is it gives you the ability to input an angle and length, much like we've been doing with the second edge. So you can do the same thing. You can lock to an angle and do your second edge. Same thing, draw it and snap to a different angle and length. And you can type in a dimension right after drawing that rectangle. So there are a ton of different ways to use the value control box to control either the angle or the length or both at the same time So really the point is not to memorize all the different options that you can use the rotated rectangle tool. It's more to just use your intuition, and more than likely the tool will perform the way you need it to. Another couple of tricks that you can do with the rotated rectangle tool is you can define your angle separately from the length. So by typing in an angle dimension, so I'll say 30 and comma, you have to make sure you put in the comma, and I'll tap enter. That now locks the rectangle on that same plane along that specific angle, and that lets you go around your model to use the inference system to lock onto different parts in your model. Another thing that's really cool is you can actually redefine the starting point for your angle. So if you reference a point in your model and tap the Alt key, that will now become the 0 degree point. So your angle measurements will now be calculated from that point. So if I wanted to go 20 degrees from this point, I could now do that by typing in 20 comma, and that locks me 20 degrees from this point. And then I could go and finish my rectangle. If you'd like to learn all the different options that you can use the rotated rectangle tool for, you can download my guide that I created that shows you all the different possible opportunities that you have to insert values, angles, and dimensions into the VCB. And if you'd like to learn more about SketchUp, visit my website at mastersketchup.com.